2024 recruiting is off with a bang thanks to Kur Teng committing to the Spartans. Also, would Hunter Dickinson be a good addition to this team? And then we get to know new women's basketball head coach Robyn Fralick. Let's go.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, thank you so much for kicking off your day with us here at Locked On Spartans, your team in green and white, 5 days a week here, yes, on the Locked On Podcast Network. We're going to get into all the fun today, like why we're all in such a good mood because a junior in high school, that's right, his college decision made us all very, very happy. We're going to get to that in a little bit, but a little bit of housekeeping. Please rate, review, and subscribe to this here podcast or YouTube channel. Any way you are consuming this, hey, thank you so much. And if you ever want to reach out, lockedonspartans@gmail.com is the place to reach out. With any questions, comments, segment ideas, if you just need a place to scream into the void, lockedonspartans@gmail.com. We got you taken care of. All right, let's get to the big news of not just the day, but of the week for Michigan State here. Kur Teng. That's right. Over lunch on Monday, he commits to our Michigan State basketball Spartans, picking Tom Izzo and company over Rutgers, over Providence. And this was a move that was kind of somewhat expected. There were a lot of predictions out there by experts that, yes, Kur Teng would eventually commit to Michigan State, but haven't really heard a lot in the last few weeks until he said, I'm committing on Monday. Here goes nothing. And, well, with Ed Cooley taking the Georgetown job, Providence was kind of out of the picture, so it was down between Michigan State and Rutgers, and those Spartans got it done in impressive fashion, too, because Rutgers is actually building a pretty special 2024 class, so couldn't fault him if that's where he wanted to go, but you also certainly can't fault Kur Teng for joining Michigan State. I think this is a beautiful pairing between player and program and also system as well. So let's get to know this kid out of New Hampshire. 6'4" shooting guard. All right. He's a 4-star kid, bona fide 4-star, highly rated 4-star. On three has him rated as the number 40 prospect in the class. 24/7 Sports has him rated as the number 41 kid in the class. And then Rivals as the number 52 kid in the class. Any way you slice it. Yes, this is the first commit for the 2024 class for Michigan State, but this is the fourth top 60 kid in the last 2 recruiting cycles for Michigan State. That goes along with Xavier Booker, Jeremy Fears, and Coen Carr as well. The fifth guy that has committed in these last 2 recruiting cycles, Garrick Norman, is someone that I think very highly of too. So yeah, we already know this. If you followed even a single shred of Michigan State recruiting, that it's been going really well here lately. And 2024 gets started off with a bang from Kur Teng, if I could use that one more time. Now, what stands out about this kid's game? 3-level score. I mean, this kid is just an all-around solid scorer. He can do it from outside the perimeter. He can do it with the lawn twos. That's right. The lawn twos are not leaving this program anytime soon. He's also a solid driver as well. But man, with the system that Michigan State has, a lot of opportunities for catch and shoot. It seems like Kur Teng was made in a basketball lab when they were just trying to develop a player that was perfect to run horn sets, a lot of pin downs, a lot of off-screen action, catch and shoot. And this kid is quick with that off the catch shoot. Can also create his own shot a little bit, but as most kids in high school, that will take some more molding. But yeah, just the raw shot making ability from Kur Teng really, and I mean really, sticks out. Like, this is the number one thing that you hear about whenever you hear from an expert, or just even just watch 30 seconds of his film, and you're going to see a kid that knows how to fill up the basket. Also, what sticks out about him, like we mentioned, his size, 6'4". You know what? That's going to be like a pro size right there for anyone that plays the 2. So you like that as well. And also, I like this as well. So this commitment was done on 24/7 Sports. They had the live feed on YouTube during lunch, and I forgot if it was Bossy or Finkelstein that pointed this out, but they mentioned that Kur Teng's high school coach is also not a nonsense guy whatsoever. And they mentioned that, when high school coaches get a recruit or a kid such as Kur Teng, a really highly rated 4-star kid, that they might coddle him. They might tell him that, oh, you're just the best. Nothing's wrong with your game. But over at, I believe it's Bradford Christian Academy. Bradford Christian Academy over in Massachusetts. They mentioned that head coach does not take kindly to that kind of coaching whatsoever. He will be critical of the players and also coach through it. He's not just a total a-hole all around, but needless to say, kind of sounds like a lot of what we have over in East Lansing, a guy that's not afraid to get into his players, and Kur Teng is obviously very accustomed to that style of coaching, and safer to say that, well, he kind of likes that because you don't commit to Tom Izzo unless you are ready for that and ready to play at a program as prestigious as Michigan State, and prestigious because of the way that the offense is run, and that is just run beautifully for Kur Teng. I just also do like the shot emphasis too, the shot making emphasis that Michigan State has had in these recruiting classes as well. Let's just take a look at what this 2024-25 roster could look like. Again, as a reminder, this is not for next year. This is for the following year, 2024. The roster could look like this, which, look, we're excited about next year. God, the year after ain't looking too shabby either. You could have a starting lineup of A.J. Hogard, who would have an extra year of eligibility. You could have Jaden Akins, Coen Carr, Xavier Booker, and Mady Sissoko. Now, the Xavier Booker thing, they mentioned this too on the 24/7 Sports feed, and this is something that we've alluded to plenty of times when we talk about Xavier Booker, that yes, he is a top 10 prospect, but that is because his ceiling is one of a top 10 player. Not to say that he's already there right now, but I think, and the guys at 24/7 Sports think, you might think this as well, that I think it would really benefit Xavier Booker to be here for 2 years. Now, is that guaranteed to happen? Absolutely not. He could explode immediately freshman year and start to reach that potential immediately and play himself very highly into the draft. Or, of course, we've seen guys leave after 1 year, even though they might not be all polished and all ready to be drafted very high, like Max Christie, or if you want a positional comparison, like Deontay Davis. But so that is a long way of saying that, yeah, you could maybe very lightly pencil in Xavier Booker for year 2 in this lineup. And then you have Mady Sissoko at the 5. But again, let's say Hogard leaves. Okay, you still have Jeremy Fears, playing point guard, or Trey Holloman if you think very highly of him. You got Garrett Norman off the bench. So, look, I don't know how many scholarships MSU will have in 2024-25 because, again, Hogard could leave. You could have transfers. There's a lot of moving parts here. But with that lineup, that's a lot of scoring. Right? Between Kur Teng, let's say Jaden Akins sticks around. Coen Carr's shot is coming along. Garrett Norman has a more polished shot coming in here. Jeremy Fears has been working on that shot in the offseason, but based on what we've seen with the McDonald's All-American game and that practice, it is looking a lot more smooth than it was even just a year ago. So I think that, obviously, being good at shooting a basketball isn't the end-all, be-all with what makes you a good player or a good team, but I do like the way Michigan State is built here with their shooting because, I don't know, maybe it's just me in my own head, just screaming echoes inside of this brain, but it just feels like sometimes you get these good recruiting classes, like Kentucky will have them or sometimes Duke will have them, and you're loaded with 5-star kids, and the consensus is, wow, they're great athletes, they're awesome rebounders, good defenders. The only thing that this kid is missing is his jump shot needs a lot of work. And then they have 3 or 4 of those kids in their classes. And it's like, okay, hold on. Making shots is important in the game of basketball here. And then they flame out early in the tournament because, well, they couldn't break past 65 points because no one can shoot. But I'll end my rant with saying, yeah, it's nice that this roster projected in the future does have some shooting on it as well. And that is all circled around Kur Teng as well, who, again, right now, probably would come off the bench his freshman year. I don't think that's crazy to think, but let's say Jaden Akins splits out of here. Not like Tyson Walker will be around for a year after that. He will be out of eligibility. So I could see Kur Teng stepping right into that 2 position. So we'll see. We'll see. Now, who else for the 2024 class? Is there anyone else on our radar? There is 5-star Bryson Tucker. Kid is from Maryland. He goes to IMG Academy right now. MSU is of interest. I think there's some mutual interest there, but I mean, this is a top 10 kid. MSU will have to beat out every single program to get him, and he hasn't taken any official visits, I believe. So we'll have to wait and see for that one. We got Jace Richardson, another top 50 commit, and also the son of former MSU star Jason Richardson as well. He's a combo guard as well. And then you have Jesse McCulloch, which I want to focus on just a little bit here. He's the 6'9" center from Cleveland. He has visited Michigan State. He has visited Alabama. He got an Indiana offer not too long ago as well, but that might be next year. Is 4-star Jesse McCulloch, 6'9" center out of Cleveland, Ohio. There's no timeline for his commitment or anything, but I have guys that have visited, and then hearing the quotes not just from the player himself, but also the family loves Michigan State. It seems like they're very high on the Spartans, so that could be next. Again, I don't know how many kids MSU will take in this 2024 class. My guess is anywhere between 2 to 4, and that's a big gap in college basketball recruiting, but there's so many moving parts with extra years eligibility, transfer portal. You guys know it. We're going to talk more basketball here in a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about Coen Carr. All right, he shined at the dunk contest. We're going to talk this Hunter Dickinson thing, the hypothetical, of course, and then check in on the women's basketball program. But first, Built Bar. That's right, gang. We are back talking Built Bar, the finest protein bar in the land that takes care of your body in 3 different ways. The first way, it's going to just treat your taste buds with nothing but respect. This tastes better than any candy bar you have had. Right here in front of me, it says, hey, say it tastes as good as a candy bar. No. When you have, for example, a Built Puff, a churro puff flavor, if you will, like your taste buds will be singing to you like an angelic choir. The second way they take care of you is they're going to be great on the body, guys. All right. Most of these Built Bars, just 130, 170 calories, just 4 grams of sugar, just 4 grams of fat, but a whopping 15, 17, up to 19 grams of protein. You're going to be feeling that power, but you're not going to be feeling weighed down. And the third way they take care of you is with convenience. Hey, Built.com. Okay, how does it get easier than that? Well, let's say you're at Sam's Club or Walmart doing some errands. They're going to be there in the pharmacy section as well. So go to Built.com, go to Sam's Club, go to Walmart, stock up. Treat yourself well with some Built Bars. All right, let's get into it here. More basketball talk. That's right. If you want football in your life and you missed yesterday's episode with Chase Glasser of Spartans Illustrated, you missed a great one. Chase was fantastic. We'll be having him on time and time again because he broke down MSU football at a very high level for us yesterday. So go over and check that out if you need some pigskin in your life. But right now, we're going to keep it with basketball. We're going to keep it with recruiting-ish, kind of. I mean, this is a kid coming in next year. It's Cohen Carr. If you have internet, you know who we're talking about. We're talking about the high-flying kid, the 4-star forward coming into next year's class. And shocker, he won the dunk contest that took place down in Houston over the weekend, beating out Miles Colvin in the finals. Miles Colvin is a top 50 recruit going to Purdue next year. And I got to say that this Colvin kid was outstanding too. He was a high flyer as well, but you ain't beating Coen Carr at these events. I think they said on the broadcast this is his 4th dunk contest he's been a part of nationally, and he's won all 4. I mean, the kid is an athletic freak. So, again, we're not going to talk the full 10 minutes about this dunk contest, but it just blew me away in the finals. It was him versus Colvin. They got 60 seconds to throw down one dunk. Twice he tries an under the legs dunk. He misses it. A very high energy dunk. He's got 30 seconds left to flush this thing down. So he was like, all right, I'll go to my plan B dunk. I'm kind of running out of time, running out of energy. And his I'm out of energy dunk was a 1 step inside the free throw line, through the legs, finish. It's like, what is this kid eating or drinking? Like this kid is a superhuman. So it's gonna be so exciting to watch this kid at Breslin next year, and then hopefully the year after that, and hopefully the year after that, and we'll see how long he wants to stick around for. But yeah, just nothing but great things out of Coen Carr, and it is very hard not to get excited about the future for this high-flying individual. Let's move it on to another big piece of news here in the college basketball landscape. This actually broke while I was recording with Chase back on Friday. That Hunter Dickinson, that's right, in the transfer portal. That's still so funny to me. And we got an email, lockedonspartans@gmail.com. This comes from Sync Jewel, who keeps on delivering great questions for the podcast. Hey, Matt, I know this will never happen, but what would your reaction be if Hunter committed to MSU? Let's address that first part right now. You are right. This will never happen. And I want to just reiterate that before anyone just goes out the rest of their day and saying, hey, I was listening to a podcast where they were talking about Hunter maybe coming here. No, that ain't happening. I'd be shocked if there was even as little as a text message sent his way or a phone call. But yeah, so let's just clear the air on that right now. We're just going to humor a hypothetical right now because this is very funny to me. Look, it would take humility from all three sides, right? It would take a lot of humility for Hunter to pick up the phone and have this conversation with Tom Izzo because, look, it's obvious that this kid probably doesn't like Michigan State a lot. He's been in this heated rivalry for 3 years. He had the comments on his own podcast about, you go to Michigan State when you can't get into Michigan, all that hullabaloo and stuff like that. It's clear, maybe I don't think the Izzone has said a lot of nice things to him. He hasn't said a lot of nice things to MSU's bench during game. It's a horrible relationship between Hunter and Michigan State. So you would have to have a lot of humility from Hunter's side, from probably MSU, like the program, the coaching staff side, but also to us fans as well. Let's talk about us here for a second. We're pretty important here too, because look, Hunter Dickinson might be my favorite Michigan Wolverine. I was going to say basketball player, but maybe just athlete ever because of how easy he is to hate. I don't want to like anyone that plays for Michigan, like when Beeline was there, for example, or what's the kid, Isaiah Livers, for example, it's like, I like those guys because they're very respectful. They're fun to root for. It's like, no, I don't need that in my rivalry. I want this as toxic as humanly possible. I want to despise these guys. And Hunter just made that so easy just with his brash arrogance. Of course, the comments he makes, but also like the whole wearing the ski mask thing when you're 2 games over 500 and then just having all these antics when you are on a one-way ticket to the NIT. Like it was arrogance just matched with hilarity. So he's my favorite Michigan athlete of all time just because he brought that fire back in all of us. So we would need a lot of humility just brushing that aside too, being like, everything we said and thought about you the last 3 years, But here's some numbers too that could actually maybe help us get over all of that. On barttorvik.com, that's right, that beautiful website we always reference here, they got a little tool here where you can add transfers, subtract players on your team, add seniors that may or may not come back, and they're going to spit out a number of where you would be ranked in the nation. It combines the offensive rating, the defensive rating of all the players, and then where that number would average nationally. Now, right now, Michigan State, we're looking pretty good right now. This is without Hunter Dickinson. Actually, this is also without Malik Hall and without Tyson Walker. Michigan State projects to be the 12th best team in the country. All right, let's add Tyson Walker into that mix. MSU would be the number 6 team in the nation next year. Now, let's say you just add Malik Hall. Okay, you'd be the 7th best team. So you're a top 10 team if just one of those kids come back. Let's add Tyson Walker and Malik Hall. Well, now Michigan State is number 4 in the country. But okay, let's go back to our original email here. What would Hunter Dickinson do to this team? Get ready for this one. Let's say Tyson Walker and Malik Hall say, forget it, I'm out of here. I'm not coming back. I've enjoyed my time here. And you just added Hunter Dickinson to this team. Guys, gals, Michigan State would be the number 2 team in the nation next year. Only UConn would be above them. So I think we could forget a lot in the last 3 years if Hunter was to come here. We'd be like, oh, yeah, we were just kidding the whole time. I'm sure you were just kidding too. Welcome to East Lansing, where Izzo will be the man that breaks the wild horse that you are. You're going to have to say goodbye to your ski mask. You might not be able to do your podcast anymore, but you will become a good basketball player with a really good roster around you. So now let's say that Hunter joins the team, and then Tyson Walker joins the team, and then Malik Hall joins the team. You're still number 2. You're not going to climb above UConn, even with those 2 talented players coming back. But yeah, that's what the numbers are spitting out at you. Hunter Dickinson has an offensive rating of 125. That's pretty good. And it is just, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna grave dance here. It is miraculous that Michigan did not have a better season than they did this year, and I love it. This last month of Michigan basketball has been a religious experience for me. This is hilarious. Like, okay, so Hunter has this great freshman year, right? We could all agree on this, even though he was like 28 years old as a freshman. He had this incredible year. Michigan did. They made it to the Elite Eight. The next year after that, they have NBA talent. They have Caleb Houston. They have Moussa Diabate, I believe was the kid's name. And even with Hunter back and 2 NBA players, we still got 9th place in the Big Ten. Okay, but we made the Sweet 16 at least, so yippee, hooray. The year after that, this year, Jet Howard, Kobe Buffkin, 2 kids that have gone into the NBA draft. Kobe Buffkin not even keeping his eligibility. He's saying, screw this. I can't stand to be here for 5 more minutes. Still not finishing in the top 8 of the Big Ten. Okay, fast. No wonder Hunter left. I haven't been here for 3 years. I was great my first year, and this roster has been putrid-ish. Actually, no, it really hasn't. We do have good talent on this team, but we don't have a coach that can guide us anywhere forward. I mean, it's been a very funny last few weeks, last few months, and just the hilarity of Hunter transferring was the icing on the cake. And yeah, so to answer the question, I'm open-minded enough and would appreciate the hilarity enough if he did come here. Sure, why not? Let's have some fun. Yeah, let's all laugh at ourselves and hopefully get in the car and drive to a Final Four here. Let's get in on the women's basketball program, which what a week, what a month for women's basketball, by the way. I'll get on my soapbox and talk more about that in a little bit, but let's talk about what's going on in East Lansing with Robyn Fralick. As most of you know, Susie Merchant no longer the coach here after 16 years. There was a mutual-ish parting of ways there. So Robyn Fralick is brought back home, so to speak. That's right. She spent the last few years of her career at Bowling Green, where she did a really good job at rebuilding that program. Look, in the 16-17 season, they went 8-23 overall, 4-14 in conference play. The year after that, in 2017-2018, they went 11-19 overall and 3-15 in the conference. And then she took over as head coach at Bowling Green. So they were really at the basement here. And then by her 3rd season, all right, Bowling Green, 21-8 overall, 14-4 in conference play. Last season, 31-7 overall, 14-4 in conference play. They were the MAC regular season runner-ups and MAC tournament runner-ups. And even before that, at Division II Ashland, just there for 3 years. Get ready for this one. How about a 104-3 record at Ashland? That's a hard number to even eclipse in a video game if you were playing on rookie mode. Even the computer will probably pop you for 4 losses in 107 games. But yeah, I think it's a great hire for Michigan State. It's who we wanted, probably. Like if you were to ask me beforehand, like, hey, who do you want to take over as the MSU women's basketball coach? I'm not going to lie to you and say I had some names in my mind. Like I'm not that much of an expert in women's basketball, but I would have hit you with the cliches. Like, okay, I want someone that's a winner, someone that could utilize the transfer portal, and someone that's, young or, young in the sense of like they can have longevity here. They can be here for a while. They're not just going to be here for a short rental stay, build up the program, and then split to the next town. And I think that's what you get with Robyn Fralick. Of course, it's not a guarantee in life, but she is from Okemos. She is from this area, so it is a return home for her, so to speak. And Alan Haller had a great quote on this as well. Quote, although she grew up in our community and we couldn't be more excited to bring her home, it's important to note that she's respected nationally. That became evidently clear throughout this process during conversations with individuals throughout the women's basketball community. So it is a return home, but it's not like a hometown hire, like, oh, we're just bringing you here because you're from the area. Like, no, it's clear that she has cut her teeth in basketball and has done incredible things, whether it be at Ashland in 3 years or Bowling Green, which I can't imagine has like incredible resources to rebuild a program from ground up, but she did it anyway. Also, okay, working the transfer portal. I mean, God, look at what LSU just did after losing 80% of their offensive production from last season. And that seemed like a pretty quick fix in the transfer portal. Robyn Fralick, no stranger to the transfer portal. Last season, 2 of her top 4 starters were graduate transfer adds from the portal. So not a stranger to that as well. So it has been a solid hire, in my opinion. Of course, she's a winner. We just highlighted that altogether. So excited to see where this goes, because women's basketball getting pretty exciting here. Getting really exciting. And if you watched any of the tournament over the last month, it was awesome. Point blank, it was great. And if you think I'm going to be just another talking head that's joining the momentum of talking about how great this tournament was, well, you are spot on, because it might be more fun than the men's Final Four. I don't know. I'm just saying. But yeah, no, it has been a very exciting month for women's basketball nationally. And this is also met with the excitement around Michigan State getting a new coach. Susie Merchant did fantastic work on and off the court here last 16 years, but it did kind of just get into a level of just mediocre for too long of a stretch of time. So this adds a jolt into the women's basketball program where there's just a national jolt overall in women's basketball. And I watched a good amount of the women's tournament, which I honestly cannot say before this year, but it has been a great month. Also, just because of everything that has happened in the Final Four, you have Caitlin Clark, who is the most exciting player in both the men's and the women's tournament. Of course, it didn't all end without like some bumps in the road. Like I think the officiating in the title game was absolutely horrendous. Like you have all these eyeballs on this women's national title game. Like this is maybe the most eyeballs you'll have on a women's title game. And the officiating made it all about them in the first quarter. Oh, actually, the whole game, they were really suspect. I don't think it changed the outcome. LSU was still a better team, but great way to let that be the storyline of it. And it is a shame that it is Kim Mulkey that won the national title this year. Just this cigarette of a human that has to wear a costume to every game to make it about herself. Incredibly phony person, does not back up her players whatsoever once they graduate. I think that's very well documented. But again, hey, you know what? Maybe this is actually a good thing that women's basketball has a villain such as Kim Mulkey. Because, hey, a villain in your sport doesn't hurt things, and she plays the role incredibly well. So maybe that actually even helps the women's game over there. I did think that the post-game discourse – I'm sorry, I'm just going full soapbox here now. This isn't even about Michigan State, but like the discourse after the game about the taunting was bizarre. Annoying. I did not watch the last 5 minutes of the game. I had to leave, but I picked up my phone an hour later, and all that Twitter's talking about is the taunting. And oh my God, how could they do this? This was crazy. And then I saw the video of the LSU player, Angel Reese, doing the "You Can't See Me," and I scrolled right past it. I was like, okay, where's the video that everyone's crying about? What is everyone up in arms about? Oh, that was it? Like, okay, so this is healthy discourse. What are we talking about? Yes, there's trash talk during sports. It wasn't like she brandished a knife at Caitlin Clark or anything. I mean, during the men's game, how many times do we see someone score, turn around, and give him the too small? Or like Tyson Walker this year. How about the clip of him at Nebraska telling the guy he was guarding to shut the bleep up? And I think it's awesome. I think it's very fun. It's great. It wasn't anything that was insane, but yeah, of course it turned into this whole weird, like, oh, she should win with class. Like, as if, like, we're talking about a Miss America pageant. Like, no, it's basketball. It's a heated competition. Like, it's not like she swung on her. All that she did was the "You Can't See Me" 2 quarters after Caitlin Clark just did the same thing. So that was weird. That was very bizarre. So I could do without that. I could also do without the whole, like, the one thing I will knock LSU for is the whole, like, oh, that's right. Like you can, Caitlin Clark's a great player, but you got to put respect on LSU's name. Like, I don't think anyone was necessarily disrespecting you guys, but there's a Twitter account out there. I hope you guys know who this is. He's Big Ten Sav. He wrote it perfectly. He's like, how do we get into the era of teams winning a title then immediately just trashing a made up narrative? And this isn't a women's basketball specific thing. I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs did this, after they beat the Bengals to go to the Super Bowl. It wasn't like celebrating. All right, we did it, guys. It was immediately like, Joe Burrow, who? you respect us. Like, Joe Burrow didn't put the sound bites out. Like, Caitlin Clark didn't get in front of a microphone and said, hey, we're going to beat LSU by at least 10 points. So I don't know, but I digress. That's just a weird chapter of like sports celebrating that we're getting into. But let's get back to the point here. Women's basketball is in an incredibly healthy place, I think, right? Because we're talking about it right now. I mean, whether it is a controversy you are passionate about, that's in the headlines. I mean, a lot of sports shows today kicked off their headliners with talking about the women's game. And also, just with the whole tournament, too, I mean, Indiana and Stanford, both 1 seeds, they didn't even make it out of their first weekend. It's a Final Four that just had 2 1 seeds. Neither of them even made it to the finals game. So there's a lot more parity in the game. It's not just, UConn running the table, beating everyone by 30 on the way to a national title, or if you're a little more older than that, too, the Pat Summitt, Tennessee teams just barnstorming their way to a title every single year. Like, no, this is actually very competitive. There are a lot of upsets now. And, of course, with the transfer portal, too, this goes with all sports, but we just saw how great it can work in the game of basketball, both men and women's. You can get to the top very quickly here. So hopefully Robyn Fralick here can bring the excitement of women's basketball to Michigan State University, and hopefully this could be another home run hire in the Alan Haller era. So let's do it, guys. There we go. Hopefully that made sense. My little ranting there, my little rambling there. Speaking from a place of passion about the women's basketball tournament, something I did not think I'd be saying before this month started, but it was a lot of fun to watch. I love that they get home games for the first 2 rounds here if you're a 1 seed. That's nice. All right, gang, we will be back on tomorrow's show. We're going to have Connor George on. That's right. We're going to do Top 5 Tuesday again. It's going to be top 5 best things of being a Michigan State basketball walk-on. It'll be a great time. We've had Connor on a few times. Always a hoot and a half. But until then, love you all. Keep it real. Go Green.